You like true crime, Zaria?
Oh my... True crime!
We're going to take a look at 5 cold cases that were solved in 2021.
Whoa, okay, that's cool. I like that.
Let's go.
On July 11th, 1963, a man fishing in Keene Creek Reservoir near Ashland hooked onto something on his fishing cord.
Oh no.
At first, he thought it was a rolled up blanket.
Oh no.
If this is where it's going, where I think it's going, I literally have chills.
Oh my god. No, what is it, a finger?
However, after reeling in the blanket, he realized that inside the bag was the body of a toddler.
Oh my god.
Not a baby! Why does it have to be a baby?
It's such an unfortunate fishing day.
A coroner determined that the toddler likely suffered from Down syndrome or
Oh my
genetic
gosh.
abnormality. The boy was estimated to be between 1 and 2 years old. The chief genetic genealogist, C.C. Moore, then used open-source DNA database GED Match to find 2 potential siblings.
Genetic genealogy is the combination of genetic analysis and traditional genealogical research. In essence, genetic genealogy can be used to identify DNA tied to family members.
That's wild.
The police interviewed a maternal half-brother in Ohio who told investigators that he had indeed had a younger sibling born with Down syndrome named Stevie Crawford, born in New Mexico. He also told investigators that Stevie's mother took him on a trip with her.
This one's kind of wild.
But that she had returned without Stevie and merely told the family that, quote, "We won't be worrying about Stevie anymore."
Worrying?
Oh, good God, you're awful.
The half-brother said it was never discussed again.
That's rough.
Holy what an awful... Oh my gosh. What a weird thing to say. Like, obviously she's guilty, but that doesn't, like, make you not sound guilty. Fucking sinister person.
Stevie's mother and stepfather died a few years prior to the revelations, and his father's name is still unknown.
They had other kids, too. And they just killed off the one that they didn't want to have to deal with. That is just absolutely psychotic.
It's one of those things where it's like, isn't it just easier to like drop the kid off at an orphanage?
First red flag was no one was looking for a toddler. For me, it would 100% be like, okay, a family member did this.
Not only did she get away with this, she told everybody that she did it, and then just ended up allowing to live the rest of her life until she died without anybody being able to find out beforehand.
Kimberly Livesey, found packaged inside a suitcase.
Oh! They put her in a suitcase!
In a suitcase?
Just thinking about that.
Sia Damus, found stuffed inside a duffel bag.
Duffel bag, we're making it smaller.
That'd be a heavy duffel bag.
This is like reminding me of the Lovely Bones.
Jessica Good,
Was put in a
Found
wallet. I'm sorry.
found floating in Miami's Biscayne
Oh,
Bay.
okay. A little different. She didn't get stuffed in anything.
Over a 14-month period, these 3
these
women
cases.
had all been brutally killed in South Florida.
Florida.
Good old Florida.
The fingerprints found at each crime scene matched, and DNA evidence proved that the same
Wow.
was responsible for all 3 slayings. But who was he?
But who was he?
His DNA and fingerprints, they couldn't seem to identify.
Let's find this bitch.
Back in 1996, a man named Roberto Wagner Fernandes was arrested in Brazil after allegedly murdering his wife,
That's crazy.
but was found innocent after he claimed to have killed her in
Ah.
self-defense.
What?
His wife's parents then hired a hitman to take Fernandes out, prompting him to move to the US.
I'm sorry. Hold on. Stop. Pause it. The victim's parents hired to kill him?
His arrival in America synced up with the timeline of the murders, but that in itself didn't prove anything. What did were his prints.
There
The
we
Americans
go.
sent the fingerprint evidence they had collected from the South Florida crime scenes to forensic experts in Brazil. And, lo and behold, they matched with the ones they had on record.
There we go, I was gonna say.
Fernandes.
Wow.
After digging deeper, investigators learned that Fernandes had left the US and returned to Brazil back in 2001. In 2005, Fernandes, a former flight attendant himself, boarded a plane bound for Paraguay, likely planning on starting a new life there for himself while continuing to take other people's. But he didn't get the chance. The plane he was on crashed mid-flight, and Fernandes perished along with everybody else on board.
What? That was a twist ending I was not expecting.
So this guy would have been dead for 16 years already. I mean, at least he's dead, but it's a shame everybody else died with him too because of that plane crash.
Yeah, he served no jail time, but fate did it for us, I guess.
On the 13th of October 1985, the Sarasota Police Department received calls that led them to the house of a 28-year-old mother, Denise Marie Stafford.
It's always like in the woods.
1985 also tells us like a lot of things about what it is that they were able to do as far as investigations.
All of her items found at the scene were carefully examined in a bid to find who might have killed her that night.
Her husband.
But investigations were slowed down by limitations in technology, and things slowly began to reach a halt.
And there we go.
The first sign of hope, however, came when a suspect arose in the case.
Interesting.
Joseph Magaletti Jr. However, the police had nothing to nail him to the crime, and he was let go.
That happens a lot. If you know the story, it's very clear who did it. But because there's no like physical substantial evidence or eyewitnesses, legally, the way that our system is set up, you can't arrest them for that.
Time passed, and the case grew cold.
Huh.
However, in 2021, with
36 years later,
DNA
Jesus.
testing technology, the Sarasota Police Department decided to reopen the case.
It's so fascinating to think that like these things happen decades later, or they can just like come back. You know, they just keep the evidence because they're not supposed to throw it out for like a murder or homicide or whatever. And somebody's just like, how about we take a look at this again years later? And I'm assuming they figured something out on this guy.
The civilian investigator, Jeff
I'm still feeling like it's her husband.
said that new evidence pointed to one fact.
Interesting.
She was standing when she was attacked.
Standing before she was attacked.
And pinned to the ground.
It's so interesting you can tell that from evidence.
He thought about the places on her clothing the killer would have had to hold before they could do that and sent for testing.
Wow.
And when the results came back, they conclusively pointed to former suspect Joseph Magaletti
Mother got
Jr.
away with it
as the
for
killer.
years.
But where
I
was
bet.
Magaletti now?
Where was he?
Magaletti had died in prison since 2015 at the age of 64 while he was serving life for strangling his former Sarasota neighbor.
So he got caught for another crime, and then post-mortem also got pinned to this one as well.
Well, at least he went to prison.
They had all the answers there, but they just literally didn't have the technology for it at the time.
In 2007, an unknown man in a gray Chevrolet pickup truck hit a man on a motorcycle in Midland, Texas. And left the scene without helping the man.
Classy guy.
Oh my God. Full hit and run.
Passed away due to his injuries. He was identified.
Terrible.
7-year-old Dustin Davidson.
Imagine being that big of an asshole to hit and run.
Hit and runs are so hard to figure out.
Investigators tried to identify the person who drove in a Chevrolet pickup truck, but they were unable to. No one came forward with useful information.
I'm kind of interested to see how someone figured this out.
Like, I know they have the car, the model, but a lot of people probably have that car.
Yeah, I feel like it's almost impossible to identify somebody randomly hitting you in the middle of nowhere.
And the case went cold.
I mean, it's one of those things where at that point, how do you know?
Until 2021. In February, the Midland Police Department received a tip that a man in the pickup truck was Raymond Dale Click.
How?
Investigators went to
14. Somebody was sitting on
He
that?
confessed. He said that he was too scared to come forward in 2007.
Wow.
Raymond could be facing up to 20 years in prison.
Drunkenly tell someone about it?
Someone was like, you know what? The divorce is finalized. Let's go.
The only thing that I can think of is that after 14 years, at some point, the guilt just comes through and you end up telling the wrong person.
I wonder if it's 20 years for killing someone or 20 years for just not coming up.
Usually in that situation, I believe it's considered manslaughter if you kill someone by accident, but then you ran away. So I think that would be additional charges.
Police and families of the many victims have known for decades who is responsible for a killing spree in western Pennsylvania in 1977 and 1978.
Again, another situation where they knew who it was.
The problem, though, was that
problem?
40 years in prison.
40 years in prison?
The suspect wouldn't confess.
Ugh, that's so annoying.
This changed in early 2021 when serial killer Edward Surratt admitted to slaying 6 Pennsylvanians. William Adams.
So he confessed, but he's been in prison for 40 years.
Guy Mills and Laura Mills. Pennsylvania State Police announced in June that Surratt, who is currently serving 2 life sentences in Florida, admitted to the killings during a police interview in March. Now aged 79, Surratt is linked to dozens of murders in the late 1960s in Ohio and Pennsylvania.
Okay. So it went deeper.
He was already in jail facing 2 life sentences for other crimes.
You're already there. You could just say it.
You know what happened. You know it was a certain person. And you are powerless, and you can't do anything about that.
The man's already got 2 life sentences, already served 40 years, and at this point, just decided to confess, even though literally they said at the very beginning, hey, real quick, everybody knows you've done this.
Thanks for watching this episode.
Hey, don't forget about us. Subscribe to the channel.
And let us know what spooked you in the comments.
Bye, guys.
Bye, guys.
Bye, guys. Bye.
I'm so bad at this stuff. I'm always like, it's the husband.